All right, welcome. As you get ready to launch your careers in HR, I want to talk about one skill, one mindset really, that's going to set you apart from everyone else. It's all about the ability to move beyond the obvious to create real, tangible value for your organization. So, let's really dig into what that means.
So let me ask you this. What do you think is the single biggest threat to having a successful, impactful career in HR? You might be thinking automation or maybe outsourcing, and yeah, those are definitely out there. But the real threat is something a lot quieter, and it's something that is 100% within our control.
And this is it. This quote just nails it. If we as HR professionals only ever say what's commonly known, what everybody else in the room is already thinking, we basically make ourselves redundant. We're signaling that our function doesn't bring anything unique to the table, and that is the trap we absolutely have to avoid.
I call this the obvious trap. It's that tendency to just stop. To stop digging once we find the first, most apparent answer to a problem. Now don't get me wrong, those baseline answers are important. They're our foundation, for sure. But your real value, that's not where it lies.
Think about it. These are the go-to answers for pretty much any HR issue you can imagine, especially if a legal case pops up. And of course, these things are essential. You have to do them. But think of them as the price of admission. This is the absolute minimum. When a problem hits your desk, these points are your starting line, not the finish line.
To really get a feel for this, let's just step outside of the HR world for a second. We're going to use a super simple analogy from our everyday lives to see how we already, intuitively, ask these deeper questions when we're just planning a vacation. Take a look at this comparison. On the left, you've got the basic stuff: who, when, and how. But we all know that's not enough information to plan a good trip, right? We immediately, without even thinking about it, jump to the questions on the right. Where are we going? For how long? What are we going to do? Because those are the questions that give the plan any real substance.
And that right there, that's the whole point. The statement is true, sure, but it tells you basically nothing meaningful about the actual experience. It's exactly the same as walking into your CEO's office and saying, "We need to do training." It's a fact, but it provides zero strategic value.
Okay, so let's take it up a notch with a more professional analogy that really shows why context is everything. We've planned a vacation, now let's try something a little bigger. Let's build something.
Just like with our HR basics, any building project is going to need these three things. You need materials, you need tools, and you need a plan. This is the obvious foundational checklist. But if I told you I had these three things, what would you actually know about my project?
You'd know almost nothing, right? You'd immediately have to ask this one critical question. Because the answer changes everything. The context is what gives all the other information its meaning.
I mean, the difference is just staggering. The context of building a simple backyard shed versus a downtown skyscraper completely transforms every single requirement. The tools, the materials, the legal stuff, they're worlds apart. So the point is, saying we need materials is totally useless without knowing what you're actually building.
So let's bring this all back into the real world. Enough with the analogies. Let's walk through a scenario you will almost certainly face in your career, one that's all about proving your value to leadership. Let's call it the CEO test.
So picture it. You're the Chief Human Resources Officer. A serious incident has happened. You walk into the CEO's office and you deliver this line. It's accurate, it's technically correct, and it's completely obvious. So, what do you think the CEO says back?
This, right here. Tell me something I don't know. In that one short sentence, the CEO is telling you that you haven't added any value yet. They already know the basics. They're paying you for your unique insight, for your deeper analysis, for your strategic mind, not for stating the obvious.
So let's be really clear about this. That which is obvious is just another way of saying that which is commonly known. Your professional value, the whole reason your role exists, is to discover, to analyze, and to share what is not commonly known. That's the mindset shift you have to make.
And this really brings us to the core takeaway for you today. Digging deeper isn't just some helpful tip, it's your professional mandate. It's how you make that crucial jump from being a tactical practitioner to becoming a true strategic partner to the business.
So how do you actually do it? Well, you start asking better, bigger questions. Instead of just stopping at policies and training, you keep going. You ask, what's the real impact on our employees' morale and their trust in us? Does this problem eventually trickle down and affect our customers? How is this going to impact our company brand out in the world? And maybe the most important question of all, What can we learn from this, and what can we actually do with that new knowledge?
And look, adding this kind of value isn't easy. It takes real work. You have to be curious. You've got to dig into the data. You've got to talk to people on the front lines. You have to explore all the ripple effects and truly commit to finding something more than what's just sitting on the surface.
So, I'm going to leave you with this question to carry with you through the rest of your studies and into your careers. Don't just ask yourself if you will look beyond the obvious. Ask yourself what. What unique insights? What strategic advantages? What incredible value will you create for your company and for its people when you make it your mission to always, always look beyond the obvious? That, right there, is where your career will be defined.